There it is. Okay, there's one. Okay. They're everywhere, guys. So as we continue, we still have these same abrasive patterns with the system. Okay, as we have this large moon, and we have the moon in front of this large moon. Okay, and this happens quite often. Okay, I can show you this in another video very briefly at the end. Okay. But I do believe that this is an area of great disturbance within the cloud. And again, it brings us back to cutting the cake. That is a pretty big slice, and we can see the atmospheric tonal blue look to it. Okay, as we continue to further ourselves through the video, and we can also see as depth of perception kicks in, we have the objects coming out of the background, dark color again here, and they grow in size as they move forward, okay, towards, of course, the camera. Okay, now as they do so, you can see how the arm interacts with the objects, and how these objects creating this debris are interacting, and as well as the very light oxidal color is interacting with the dark. We can see it by this claw shape here, all right, with multiple protrusions here as well. It's very minutely small with the objects. Encountering that as we continue, remember the depth of perception. Okay, and remember the objects can be of different coloration. Okay, I mean, there's one here, dark moons. Okay, and you can see the very sharp arm of debris. Okay, a moon here has left this debris. It's climbed over this moon, just like these did. They went over the side of this moon, as these ones on that side went over the side of this moon. But yet the objects that went over the side create the same pattern, and it leaves us into this area. Look at this beautiful, beautiful working of the system cloud oxide as the objects are pushing themselves, creating that very beautiful cotton look. But as we center into this, we can see the very dynamic, perfect, and again I say picture frame because it's perfect squares, perfect turns, perfect edges. Okay, so as we continue closer to where we are headed here, I want to pause here because I want to show you these moons that sit up above this flat area. You see the very beautiful lining effect here. Okay. Now anybody that is not familiar with this system would probably say that that resembles a boat, okay, or a pyramid. Okay, I see the boat perfectly square outside, and it's squared inside a bit and squared here, almost like a pyramid. And it definitely has the objects. Okay, and of course this could not be any more beautiful. And I like to think of this as 10 of us sitting on inner tubes at the very top of a hill that's full of snow, fresh packed snow, and we are wanting to make it down here. And it's going to be a race, and all 10 of us are going to start at the same time. So as we start, here's our trails. Okay, we see them again. As we're making ourselves down, we still see our trails. In certain areas, we have, of course, larger objects that we encounter. Space is large, the system is large. We never know where an arm is going to come. Okay, but as we come down, we can see the objects. You can see them. Okay, as they're coming down, and they're making good headway. they create the turn. You can see right here, you can see the lining effect, the debris. Okay, how it creates the lines, how minutely small they are, because again, depth of perception. Okay, it's further away. So if you start from this area right here and you start to walk yourself towards the middle of the screen, you start seeing the things that are creating it. And then that changes your perception a bit. As we move up again, we have the same pattern happening here. We have the objects that are butted next to each other, okay, that are creating that squared feature, and you can see them. Okay, they're so close to each other, you lose 10% of each side of the object. Okay, so if you remember that, okay, some areas you don't. Some areas you look straight down on them, as we will right here, and you will have full circular objects. Okay, with the beautiful picture framed objects as well. So what makes this system so mystical, it's able to have both. It's amazing. But let's keep one thing in mind, okay, and this will help your learning curve a lot. Knowing that an object can be white and blue. Okay, that's very important, because with a white planet, you have white objects, which is very tough to see. Okay, but if it is lit with dominance of interaction, then of course the oxide becomes bright. Okay, the darker the charcoal blue objects, of course, most of the times the charcoal blue object is written to us because of the debris. It is written for us here. But I want to show you this area because it is so, this is another reason why the system is so reclusive. Okay, we have the dominance in the cotton white objects. And then right next to it, we have the dominance in the charcoal blue. Complete opposite, right next to each other. And this tells you how prominent the buildup of the system and its shading possibilities in each aspect, each turn of the system is, and how it changes the look of it to us all the time. Okay, we can see as these white ones fade towards the bottom of the screen, we can see the charcoal blue ones, and easily we can see the debris lining that goes over each and every one of them. And as the debris goes over each moon, we can also as well see the interaction of objects coming over these ones that are traveling together towards a different location as these are. Okay, these would be going from the left to the right of the screen, of course, as the dark emitted circular objects are going from, of course, the top to the bottom of the screen towards the sun. And again, it creates that transparency with the background, very hard to see. Okay, but only when we draw back the camera and we take a gander at each aspect of each area that is playing out, it's then we see the full structure of the system, guys. It's truly amazing. It's just have to take a breath. It's amazing. And the coloration, guys, that is coming with this system is profound. It's truly profound. And we can see in this area there's a moon here. It's a small moon. You see the debris that's coming off of that. And again, you can see the angel wings, the two wings that push off the sides of each object. And you can see just, it's very beautiful, guys. I'm a bit lost for words. We have an object here that's white. Okay. We have a very structured, picture-perfect square here on the very top of this object. We can have objects that are climbing this side of it. We can see this is a planetary object clearly with debris. Okay, and this is a moon with its hand of debris. It's starting to slingshot over this dark object. So are these. You can see the misty wave effect it has. Okay, from the brightly lit oxide. Okay. And as they interact, of course, there's another dark object. It's going to be a complete interaction. As this light anomaly creates itself, we have the walk. This object is still walking towards the light. We have the very bright objects. We can see them here. They're walking from the right to the left. You can see them here as well. Okay. You can see them right here. Very dominant right here. How they darken themselves out. See, the light is pushing and it's darkening out the planets. You can see them pushing themselves out as it moves. This wave moves. Okay. It's a very dominant structure, and I still believe that this is Nibiru. Very prominent. You can see this orange planet coming out right here. Okay, pushing itself out. Okay. And as I said before, we have objects that are coming through this from the right to the left, and we also have objects, as you can see here, okay, going from the top to the bottom. So they're interacting all the time with one another. Okay. Of course, we have a wave that's created here. There's a major push, major push here. Just look at the dominance and lighting. I mean, it's amazing. See the moon right here, still walking itself down. It's beautiful, very clear and vivid. See how the light bends around this area, and for moments we can make out the colorated objects. And again, I believe this is Nibiru. It's much larger than it was a month ago. Much larger. If you remember, in July of 2013, I caught a very fiery object that had an object in front of it. Okay, and clearly for a moment this does. Okay, and if saw it right, it still bends down. And again, the wave effect that we started out with in the very beginning, pushing up to the very beautiful cotton white cluster. And it's a pure divide, guys. And again, we have the object that has a beautiful tail and the beautiful aperture bend of lighting with it. If we look at it right about here, we can see that it bends perfectly, and the light keeps doing that circular bend to it. It's very beautiful and dominant. You can see it. It has wings to it. beautiful. Almost as if an object were sitting right here.